I was 99 years old when I made the choice that would change the course of my final years. I thought I was making the right decision. I believed I was doing what was best. I moved into a nursing home, not because I wanted to, not because I was weak or helpless, but because I was tired of being a burden. That's what I told myself. I thought I was saving my children from the task of watching me slow down. I thought I was choosing dignity and peace. But what I got was something else. I now carry the weight of regret every day. I want to tell you why, not to complain, not to point fingers, but to spare you the pain I now know too well. I wish someone had told me the truth. I wish someone had warned me. I learned 6 hard and shocking realities after moving into that nursing home. Realities that I want to share with you. If you are considering it, or if someone you love is, please listen closely. This isn't about fear. This is about truth. The first reality hit me almost immediately. It was the silence, the kind of silence that seeps into your bones. At home, even when alone, life hummed around me. The neighbor's dog barked, the kettle whistled, children played in the distance. There was a rhythm, a life. But here, the silence was heavy. Even the sound of footsteps in the hallway felt rehearsed, mechanical. I realized that I had traded noise for numbness. There were people all around me, yet I felt more alone than I had in 50 years. Meals were served on time. Lights went off like clockwork, but no one truly spoke. Conversations were short, surface level. No one asked about the memories that made me. No one wanted to know who I used to be. In this place, we were no longer people. We were residents. And that title came with a quiet that was louder than any noise I'd ever known. The second truth was harder to admit. I began to forget how to decide things for myself. It crept in slowly. At first, it was simple. What time I'd eat, when I'd bathe, which chair to sit in. But over time, I started losing the muscle of choice, like a bird whose wings had been clipped for too long. One day, I realized I hadn't made a decision in weeks. They told me it was for safety, for routine. But safety without freedom is not life. It is merely existing. I began to doubt myself. Should I speak up? Should I ask for something different? And then I stopped asking. That was the worst part. When you stop asking, you stop believing you deserve more. I had once been a man who led a team, raised a family, made mistakes, learned from them, and stood up again. But in that nursing home, I became someone who waited for the next meal, the next pill, the next nurse's round. I was not living. I was following a script I never agreed to. Then came the third realization. No matter how kind the staff, they cannot give you the love you need. They can smile, they can bring your medicine, they can ask how your night was, but they cannot give you love. Not the kind you crave in the quiet hours of the night. Not the kind you need when you forget what day it is, or when your joints ache, and all you want is someone to hold your hand without looking at the clock. I missed my daughter's hugs, the way she touched my shoulder when she said goodbye. I missed the way my son argued with me about politics at the dinner table. I missed being known. Here, people knew my name, but they didn't know me. They didn't know I played the piano for 20 years. That I lost my wife in spring, that I still wrote letters I never sent. Love is not something you can schedule. It is not a checkbox on a clipboard. It is felt in the pauses, the moments in between. And in this place, those moments were few and far between. The fourth truth was one I tried to ignore. It was the loss of purpose. When I lived at home, I still had small duties. I watered my plants. I sorted the mail. I fed the stray cat that came to the porch every morning. Those tasks may seem small to you, but they were my anchors. They reminded me that I still had a role in this world. Here, I had no role. I was not needed, not asked, not involved. I watched the days go by like reruns of a show I didn't care to watch. Each day mirrored the last. I began to dread mornings because they brought nothing new. I never thought I'd say that, but it's the truth. When you feel unneeded, you start to question your very existence. I remember staring out the window one day, watching the clouds roll by, and I whispered to myself, "What am I doing here?" I had no answer. That's when I knew. Purpose is not about being busy. It's about feeling connected to something, anything. And here, I had been cut from the fabric of life. The fifth reality was about dignity. I lost pieces of it, bit by bit. The first time someone helped me bathe, I felt a crack inside me. Not because I was too proud, but because I wasn't asked. It was just done. It became routine. They meant no harm. They were kind, but it still stung. I had spent decades caring for others. I had changed diapers, cleaned wounds, cooked meals. I had done it with love. But when it was done to me, without warning, without explanation, it felt different. It felt like I was no longer seen as an adult. I was being managed, monitored, sometimes spoken to in the voice you use for toddlers. "There we go. Good job." Those words pierced deeper than they knew. I didn't want praise. I wanted respect. I didn't want applause for walking to the bathroom. I wanted silence and space. Dignity is not something you ask for. It is something you quietly lose when others stop noticing it matters to you. The sixth and final truth is the one that haunts me most. The realization that this is where it ends, and it ends too quietly, too slowly, in a place where death is not discussed but always present. You see it in the empty chairs, the names on the door that change, the sudden hush in the hallway. No one says it out loud, but we all know, one by one, we are leaving. I used to think dying at home was selfish, that it would put stress on my children. But now I see. Dying at home is a privilege, a final chapter written in your own handwriting. Here, the chapter is written in forms, in signatures, in scheduled visits. I regret that I gave up my last years of freedom so easily. I regret that I did not fight harder to stay where memories lived, where laughter echoed in the walls. I do not fear death, but I do fear fading away in a place where my story was never really told, where I was just one among many, a file in a drawer, a room number. If I could go back, I would tell myself to wait, to try a little longer, to accept help at home, to let my children worry. They would have. But they would have also smiled more, hugged more. We would have had breakfast together, watched old movies, fought over silly things, laughed until we cried. We would have remembered that I was still part of them, not stored away in a place built for quiet exits. I am 99 now, and I know I am nearing the end. That is not what saddens me. What saddens me is that I traded real moments for managed care. I traded noise for order. I traded memories for check-ins. If you are thinking of moving into a nursing home, ask yourself why. Is it truly your choice? Or are you trying to protect others from your decline? Do you think you are helping? Because I did too. But sometimes helping means allowing others to walk with you, to struggle with you, to cry with you, not to send you away. I am not bitter, but I am awake. I see now that what I needed was not a place to be taken care of. It was a place to still live, to still matter. A nursing home may offer safety, food, medicine, but if it comes at the cost of your spirit, it is too high a price. I wanted to live my final days in a place where I was seen, heard, known. That place was my home, my real home. The one with chipped walls and a squeaky floor. The one that held the echoes of my life. Do not make my mistake. Do not give up your story before it ends. Write it to the last page. Live it to the final breath. Even if it's messy, even if it's hard, it is still yours. That is what matters. That is what I wish someone had told me before I moved into a place where silence grew louder than love. Where I learned 6 shocking truths far too late. And now I pass them to you.